Hi, my name is Alina Reese, and I did my informative speech on the Great Wall of China. So there are many things that we don't know about the Great Wall of China. It's one of the most visited places in the world. It's one of the most unique places in the world also. So the Great Wall of China is more than 2,300 years old. It's about 16 to 26 feet tall, and it's located in Beijing, China. My purpose of this statement is today to inform you guys about the Great Wall of China, how amazing it really is. My overview. How it's built, the myths we hear, and how long does it take to see it all. Here's my drawing for how it's built. I am not a very good drawer. Please discard that. So these are my sources that I have used to look up my information, and along with also just finding everything that I had to find out about the Great Wall of China. So the Great Wall is one of the most visited historical sites in the world. It's more than 10 million people visit a year, and more than like 50,000 visit a day. It takes up to 5 hours to really explore the Great Wall, and that's not even finishing half of it. Into my body. The Great Wall was built by peasants, soldiers, rebels, and those who are being punished by the kings. There are very few materials used, such as stone, soil, sand, and brick. It was placed together by making a mud substance, which they used to combine together. When you guys were kids and you guys would go outside and play with mud and water, and you'll make like a paste and you guys would build things with it, essentially what they did, but they were building a bridge. They received the material by hand, rope, and goats along with carts. So when they would get too high up off the ground, they could no longer carry stuff up, they would have the goats come up and bring them the materials. Okay, so the myths that we hear today. When we were younger, we're in history class or any other class for that sake, we all heard that the Great Wall had bodies buried inside of it from the soldiers that had passed on. Growing up, I honestly believed that because I just felt like that was probably one of the most honorable things that they had, but that was not true. So there's no bodies buried inside except for two that I have read upon, which is Emperor Qin and Emperor Kui. Those were the two main people who started the Great Wall and who ended up being buried inside out of respect. So the Great Wall was built in a year. That's also false. The Great Wall took about 2,500 years to actually finish. It started to build in 1828 and still not complete to this day. The Great Wall can be seen in space, which is also false, as NASA has proven that it is untrue. NASA had once sent a drone up or a rover up there and showed that you can no longer see it or any other big buildings that we have in the world. How long does it take to walk? It does not take 2 hours, which is another false thing. You need at least 4 to 5 hours to get halfway done. The Great Wall is not a straight line or a big circle. There's a certain pattern to it, which makes it very, very difficult for people to finish. You need to be at least 4 to 5 hours to get halfway done, and a couple of days to finish the whole wall. The Great Wall is not a straight line or a big circle. There's a certain pattern to it, which makes it take a little bit longer than expected. In my conclusion, you have learned about how the Great Wall was built, which is my drawing. You also learned about the myths that we heard, the myths that we hear, and then you learned how long does it take to walk. So my vivid remark for you guys is, it's okay to be a glow stick. Sometimes we need a break in order to shine. With that being said, I encourage all of you guys to go out and see the Great Wall of China in Beijing, China. There are many great places in the world that we don't see due to traveling, due to spending expenses, or certain things like that. Actually, the Great Wall is one of the most cheapest places to go see because so many people want to see it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation. Thank you for listening and enjoying it. You guys have a good night. Goodbye.